So the plan for today is a bit confusing depending on how much time we have to do things. So I have to go to a pub quiz at 2:30, but it's already midday now, and I promised the baby we'd go to a castle. This being because they've got these new like COVID restrictions now where they're shutting outdoor things, so the castles are going to shut now from Monday. But our favourite one, which is called Old Beaupre Castle, it's like this like 15th century, 16th century mansion or whatever. It only opened like on the 9th of November, like because after like the big lockdown in spring, they were sort of like opening the Cadw sites. Like Cadw's like the Welsh government's like castles organisation or whatever, like it keeps sites like that. So it was like opening them one by one, and Old Beaupre Castle, for some reason, I guess because it's in the back of Beyond, it's in the nowhere, it got sort of like pushed to the very end. Only opened in November, and now it's going to close again. So it's our last chance. We have to get there. I promise the baby will go. But I do have the pub quiz at 2:30, and to be honest, I need to be at this pub quiz. Like, it's going to be a sober pub quiz. So I feel like we're actually going to do really well because like the vast majority of us, like you can only have 4 people. You can only meet 4 people in a pub at a time now. But like most of us that are going are really smart and like know loads of stuff. But when we're drunk, like it just ruins it. So like our pub quizzing in the past has not been very good. But I think like us just all being forced to be sober, we're just going to be like on fire with the pub quiz. It's going to be amazing. Okay, now you climb over. Here you go, babes. Okay, let's go. Yeah. So, and then we got our sandwiches here. Okay, you got some fruit shoot, mince fries. People have been graffitiing here since like the 1600s when they first abandoned the house. Oh my god, on our walk back there was like a surprise shower that just pissed down like completely. We're absolutely soaked. We're the most soaked we've been in ages, and it was only like 5 minutes, and now it's like the sunniest, like most amazing weather. If we'd waited like 5 minutes before leaving, before walking across that field, we didn't. Now we're soaked.
My eyes are wet. What's that?
I think it'll be the whole.
Today we haven't got a picture round, you haven't got any printed. Anything Christmassy related in them, alright? so question number.
I'm having trouble with the legs of my sheep.
God, we did terrible at the quiz. We were terrible. I realise now that alcohol is our superpower. Like, or like in acts our superpowers or whatever. Like, we always get roughly top 3 of the quiz. And this time we didn't even get top 3. I think we were like 5th out of like 10 or whatever. That's ridiculous. Like, completely sober, we are pointless. We can't do anything. Okay, so a couple of book things. I'm still working through White Sky, Black Ice by Stan Jones. Or is it Black Ice, White Sky? Okay, anyway, I'm working on that one. It's for by Icebreaker Readathon, and it's for the prompt to do with an Indigenous main character, and it's really good. I'm really liking it. It's like a sort of like police, like murder mystery type thing in Alaska, in like Inupiat areas there. So the police officer, he was born Inupiat. He was born to a girl there, but then was adopted out to white parents in Anchorage in the city. And then he's just recently been sort of transferred back by the police, like he's a state trooper for like Alaska or whatever. And I'm really liking it. Like, I like these sort of like cozy, like cop mystery type things anyway. Like, I like a sort of gruff, like cop character, you know, like one that like, you know, is a bit rough, doesn't give a shit about stuff, just like solves stuff and then moves on with his life or whatever. And like, there's sort of elements of it now. They're a bit like the Tony Hillerman sort of cop mysteries that I like, where it's like Indigenous people and Indigenous sort of like culture and sort of folklore and things like that are part of the mystery, you know? So it's like, is it someone who murdered someone because they were jealous, or was it like, you know, a desert spirit or whatever? Anyway, so there's a bit of that, like there's like a curse on the family that's causing like all these children of the family to kill themselves. But is it a curse, or is it likely just somebody's killing them? You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm really liking that. Okay, also carrying on from what I was saying yesterday and the day before about unconventional book lists. Like, 'tis the season for like the best of whatever books I read lists, you know, like best YA I read and like best romance I read or whatever. But like, I feel like unconventional lists would be way more interesting. So like, you know, I was saying like best beard in books or whatever, like top 5 best beards in books. So I did a couple lists before, like a list yesterday, a list before that. And I think today's list, I've been thinking about this, I think today's list will be top 3 mind fucks. Just like books that completely messed with your mind. Just like twists and turns, or like led you to believe one thing that was like completely different, or like, you know, like a crazy ending or whatever. So top 3 books I read like that this year. Are you ready? Okay, number 3 best mind fuck for the year is The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. So the idea with this one is, it's 4 guys, they're like Native Americans, they're Blackfeet kids, they're like 18 or so, they go hunting. But everything goes a bit wrong with the hunt. Like, first of all, they're hunting in a place they're not supposed to be hunting in, it's reserved for the elders. Then they kill way more than they meant to, and then because they're about to get caught, they have to leave all the meat just there to rot. Like, they can't do, you know, what you're supposed to do with it. Blah, blah, blah. It all sort of goes toward raising this like weird elk demon that sort of comes for her revenge. So anyway, I can't really say what it is about it that's a mindfuck, because it's going to completely give it away. But it's to do with sort of, she like gets into people's minds, and like in getting her revenge, she sort of makes the people see their friends and relatives like in a completely different way, like in a really bad way, like, oh, he stole from me, or oh, she's the elkhead demon, or like all this sort of stuff. And it's written in a way like makes you think that they're that as well, like not just that they're going crazy and she's making them see crazy stuff, but that all like, is that true? Like, it just messes with your mind, and I really liked it. Okay, number 2 best mindfuck for the year, I'm gonna go with I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. So I read this book for the book club that I'm in for people that I work with, and I didn't really know anything about it when I went into it, and I think that's basically why it was such a mindfuck and why it just like messed with me completely. Because it was really short, like I was sort of running it down to the wire, really. Like the book club meeting for it was coming up really fast. I'd never really heard of it before. Like I knew it was on Netflix, but I'd never seen anything about the Netflix thing. So I was going into it completely blind and in a hurry to sort of finish it. So I knew literally nothing about it. And it sort of leads you into this thing where this girl and this guy are in this car and they're going up to meet his parents for whatever thing, and she's sort of like doing a running sort of monologue in her mind about the relationship and like how it's gone so far, how they met, blah blah. She keeps saying, I'm thinking of ending things, and you're like, what is she thinking of ending? Like, is she thinking of ending her life or the relationship or whatever, blah blah blah. And then it all comes to like an ending, which I 100% didn't see coming. Like, loads of people in the book club said that they did see it coming, and I think maybe it's because they knew a bit about the book beforehand. When you go into it knowing literally nothing about it, so I'm not going to tell you anything. If you know nothing, it's like a mind explosion. I did not see that coming, and I really enjoyed it. Okay, number 1 best mindfuck I read this year. I'm going to say Fools by Pat Cadigan. So I had to read this book for the 90s book club that Bert does on Past Story Time, and I again knew nothing about this one sort of going into it, but it's like a sort of sci-fi, like futurist sort of like urban type thing where there's sort of like memory hopping and like memory trading and stuff. Like you can be a memory junkie by like buying other people's memories, and you can go through and like mentally connect with people in like a virtual space and stuff like that. It's all like completely crazy. There's like an element of state control as well, like sort of like the state has a hand in everything as well. Like, I can't even give you even the basics of it, or else it's going to completely ruin it, I feel like. And also, I'm still confused. So if I tried to give you like a really intense, like in-depth running of how it was, like you would just see how effing confused I was. Anyway, I really enjoyed it in the end. Like, it took quite a lot of digesting, you know, like I had to think about it quite a lot. And like Shan at Past Story Time, she read it as well. She was like, I'm too confused, I can't cope. And I was also ridiculously confused. But I really liked it. I really enjoyed that one. I'm gonna say number 1 best mindfuck of the year.